Welcome to the Winning with Shopify podcast. This is the podcast to help you scale your Shopify store into a money-making machine. The Winning with Shopify podcast is powered by Spec, who is the sponsor for this series. Get ready to take notes. Now, over to the studio.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Winning with Shopify podcast. For anyone who's not tuned in before, welcome to the show. My name's Nick. It's a pleasure to have you listening in today. I say that every single week. People that are tuning in, not for the first time, and you've been tuning in for a little while, you'll know that I say that every week. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. And if you want to send any questions in, head over to winningwithshopify.com and let us know. Final shout out before we jump straight into today's show that Byron's asked me to read out. Byron's the guy who organises all of our guests, sponsors, etc. Byron said we do actually have a sponsorship slot open in December. It's the last one we've got for nearly 2 years. So if anyone's interested in sponsoring, you want to come on, talk about your tech platform or your business or whatever else, drop us a note. All you need to do is just go on the Winning with Shopify website, so winningwithshopify.com, fill out a quick form. End of plug. So we're going to crack into today's show. This month, July, we are talking about paid social. We're talking about social, but today we're talking about paid social as one of the elements of that. So we're talking to a few brands, a few agencies, and a nice little mix of people. We've got some very special guests coming up and a very special guest today. My guest today is joining me for not the first time, but the second time. His name is Marin. He's from a business called Inspire, and we'll talk more as we go on about the business as well. But Marin, welcome to the show.
Hey Nick, glad to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you back. Before we jump in, we always ask our guests, why don't you give us a little background to yourself, Marin, and a little bit about the business as well, and a bit about what you do there. That would be great.
Yeah, sounds good. So I was actually on my senior year of college, studying computer science, and alongside with that, I was pursuing a professional football career, playing in second Croatian division. But somehow, I stumbled upon digital marketing. I started learning everything there is about. I went through the whole Google and Meta support literature to understand. It got me interesting. So soon I started working as a freelancer. Very soon after that, I connected with Matt from the Inspire agency, and then I started working exclusively for Inspire. I was a junior media buyer. That was 7 years ago, something like that. And I'm currently still at Inspire. So I went from junior media buyer to senior media buyer to head of performance. And currently I'm a partner at the agency. We are a boutique agency focused on paid social. Facebook is our bread and butter. And we're working with we are a boutique. We are working only with 10 to 15 clients at a time. The reason why we stay boutique is because besides the agency, we have 2 internal brands. One in a skincare niche, one in a supplement niche. So it's not that we are just spending other people's money. We know how to scale our own brand, but then we apply that learning to our clients as well. So it's kind of a mix between the internal brands and the boutique agency.
Nice. I used to run my own Shopify store. I stopped just because I got so busy and realized I don't know what I'm doing with products, merchandising. The marketing bit was easy. I could sell loads of products. It was the customer service and everything else. But I can certainly say you learn a lot running your own business, don't you? And then when you're talking to customers and they talk about the warehouse problems or a supplier issue, you know what they're going through. And it must be so much better actually having that partnership and that relationship with brands, knowing what they're going through and actually giving them advice outside of just paid social.
Yeah, exactly. Because ads are just amplifiers. They kind of help you to scale when you have a healthy foundation. There are so many other pieces of business that need to be set up before you run ads. So all your logistics, shipping, product market fit. I'm also the guy that enjoys the marketing the most. All that operational stuff is a hassle to me. But as you said, when you go through it, you find value in those other things, and that is definitely something that needs to be set up in place before you run any kind of ads, no matter paid search or paid social.
Yeah. And I would actually go one step further. I completely agree. And I would say that actually when you bring in a supplier or you try and do something new or push messages out either to existing customers, new customers, I think you're absolutely spot on with the word amplification. It is absolutely what's going on. So I often say to people that, if something's not going well right now, don't outsource it. You need to get it working well yourself, because you're the only one who has the power, the understanding and the power to change something. So whether that's, like, for example, some people say like, oh, our customer service is a nightmare, so let's outsource it and get another company to do customer service for us and actually talk to the customers. The problem with that then is you still have the issue that the customers are facing. You haven't stopped the customer problems. You've just sort of passed kicked the can down the road, as we say sometimes, and made that problem worse. And I guess it must be similar with you guys, that when you engage with a brand, if they aren't doing social very well and people are complaining, it's not going to be a good brand to actually, as you say, amplify and grow, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, Facebook ads are cherry on the top. Like, with the things that I do in the ad account, I can improve your results by a bit. But if you don't have like product market fit, if you don't have like a working funnel or the offer that's converting, like, there's not much thing in the ad account that you can do that will kind of like tremendously change the results and your return on the investment. So like, all those things need to be set up. Like, all the things outside of the ads manager are more important.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. We're going to come back to that. We're going to talk a little bit later about the offer. I like the way you put that, what you're actually offering customers. But let's start with channels. So anyone who's not advertising now, or they're advertising on one or two social channels at the moment, talk us through the channels. Like, what are some of the channels that are big at the moment? Which ones would you focus on? And I guess the big question really is, how would you choose which channels to start on if somebody is not advertising socially already?
So, like, as you know, like, there are two categories, paid search and paid social. So like, search is actually capturing the demand if there is a demand. But with paid social, you're generating that demand. So that's totally different type of marketing. It's interrupter marketing, because your ad shows up on someone's feed, while on Google search, like, your ad, like, someone is actively searching from that. So obviously Google would always have the highest return. In terms of the paid social, I think that Facebook is still the king. I still call it Facebook. I don't like this Meta name. I think Facebook is still the king. It has the most data. It's most robust. It's still a mixture of like young audience, so you can advertise to Gen Z. It still has like a lot of the data on boomers. So just by the fact that it is the longest here, it has the most data, and it has the kind of like widest set of tools and the things that you can do with your ads. I think that Facebook is the best fit. All the other channels, like TikTok, if you compare TikTok Ads Manager, it's like 90% the same as Facebook Ads Manager, like Pinterest as well. So basically those are just copying Facebook. Every channel has some like additional feature that's kind of like unique to the channel, but compared to the Facebook, I think they're all still inferior. Why I think that? Well, like TikTok is getting some traction. It is kind of like a new shiny toy, shiny object that people are jumping to. But the thing is, the creative dies so much faster compared to the Facebook, just because there's not much audience there. So basically you need to constantly produce new creatives, which actually becomes really expensive, because like your ad fatigues, you need to kind of like create a new video. What I would say is good about TikTok, you don't have to make professional ads. You need to kind of like make TikToks, not ads. This is something that definitely is a great thing for all people that like don't have a high budget. When it comes to the TikTok, I find it that like if you're selling above 150, your product is above 150, it's kind of hard to get that sale. I think it works for like a lower price product. In terms of the Pinterest and Snap, to be honest, like almost none of my clients is currently running them. We did experiment with some of those, but we found out that they have like their attribution setting is like 7-day click, like 7-day view, 7-day engagement, or like for Snap, it's like even, 7-day click, 1-day view, or like, and like they're attributing so much sales like that are not incremental at all. So when you look at those channels, it looks like your ROAS there is like, 15, but when you check your Shopify, you can see there's no sales. Snapchat and Pinterest are actually just claiming the sale that came from email or came from Google. So that's why we stick from the if I would have to divide in percentage, I would say that 80% of the budget is on Facebook, maybe 20 is on TikTok.
Nice. And I really appreciate your answer. There's a lot in there that we're going to digest, and I think very comprehensive, kind of looking at, as you say, the different channels. And I think TikTok is definitely a shiny object. We, as a team, all downloaded TikTok, and less than half of us actually started using it. A few of our team do, and it's really interesting what you're saying actually about a product under 150. Is that $150? You would say?
Yeah, I would say something like that.
Yeah. So that doesn't sell very well. Well, I think that's quite an interesting learning in itself. I guess one question I've got really is, and I know this is going to be relative, but a lot of people that are going into social and looking at different platforms or trying, I'm going to call it Facebook as well, because I'm with you, I prefer the name Facebook, because that's what it is. It's Facebook and Instagram. But on Facebook, for example, what sort of ROAS should people be looking at? Are they going to jump in on day one and with a really good creative? Is it a learning process? And I guess the sort of sub-question that, we'll come on to attribution itself later, but what is the best way to track it? What is the right ROAS and what's the best way to track that ROAS?
Yeah, so I always tell to my clients when they ask me what ROAS I need to hit, I cannot provide you answer that. You need to come to me with your ROAS target. Your ROAS target depends on your unit economics, your COGS, your shipping price, and actually how much margin do you have? So if you kind of if it costs you $20 to create a product and then you sell it for 50, if we spend 30 on the advertisement, your ROAS would be over 3, and then you would still have $50 margin. But if it costs you $20 to create a product and to ship it, but you're selling it for 50, you cannot expect high ROAS just because difference between your unit economics and your AOV is such a small. So it's hard to say what ROAS can you get. It will always be lower than on Google, just because on Google you have that intent of searching a product. I would say that most of our clients are looking, their target ROAS is between 1.7 and 3, something like that. The ones with a lower target ROAS are the ones that they're selling supplement or skincare or something that you need to buy on a monthly basis.
Yeah, like a
subscription. They are allowed to be on a break even on the front end just because they're counting on LTV. They know they will get a sale from that person that bought product A on the month 2, on the month 3. So they're even allowed to allowing themselves to lose a bit money at the front end because they know they'll make it up in the back end. So it's really hard to tell what ROAS people should be looking for. It really depends on the product and the business.
Yeah, I think it's a really good, really good analysis actually, and I'm glad you said 1.7 to 3 because I've had so many people in the past sort of saying "Whoa, somebody told me I'm getting a 20 to 1 ROI on Meta," and I look at the click costs and I'm like, it can't be true. You have to pay more than that to get someone to click on the ad. Well, not more than that, but you have to pay enough that it's just you're going to need a conversion rate of 80%, which is not going to happen,
exactly.
is it?
I mean, if you need the ROAS above 5, you don't have an ads problem, you have a business problem because that's not viable business. You cannot scale that. You can spend a couple of hundred a day and that's it, but you will never scale with your target ROAS above 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe on a business level that's okay, but you cannot expect Facebook, which is top of the funnel, to get you consistently ROAS of 5. We have some clients that are spending 20, 30K a day. Their ROAS is not 5. You cannot expect that you will never scale.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, it's not too dissimilar on Google as well. We have clients that are hitting 4 to 1, 5 to 1, and they're saying we're not profitable, and we're sitting there going, well, I know the intent's there, but we start looking at Google Analytics, a really basic way of just getting the picture of things. We just look at the channel grouping and say, right, what channels are driving stuff? And if you find email and direct are not doing enough, then it's like you're just getting
Exactly.
one sale from each customer. And I love what you say about
Yeah.
lifetime value and subscriptions then. I still think there is a market for a non-subscription business to be running on any of these channels, but I think the repeat orders and lifetime value is so important. Certainly when you compare, like, I don't know, a coffee or skincare brand where it's like, I drink coffee, I use skincare products, they run out, I need more. And then actually your
Exactly.
marketing game now is email, which is really cheap, and it's engagement and providing ongoing value to that person. I even saw a coffee subscription recently where you can subscribe to the little pods. They're compostable, so you can just throw them in your garden, and they compost over
Nice.
time. But what they were doing is they were saying, if you're still a customer in a year's time on this level of subscription, we will give you a free coffee machine. Really high quality
Amazing.
pod machine. But you have to then commit to another 12 months. And if you
Yeah.
cancel in the next 12 months, then we need the money for the coffee machine and we'll take it off your credit card, sort of thing. Which now means you've got a customer for 2 years, you're giving away a coffee machine, which is still cheaper than paying on Facebook or Google to get a new customer instead of that customer just constantly renewing. And I think that kind of comes back to what you're saying as well about the offer right at the start. That's quite a compelling offer. So we need to get them in, try the coffee. The coffee's amazing. Try it for free for a week here. The coffee's brilliant. And then once you've tried the coffee and you like the coffee, now subscribe and you kind of work that journey up. I think the offer is so important. And I love that you say, like, there is a business problem here. I guess the other factor as well, which we probably see more on Google just because the ads are side by side, but it's the same on Facebook, isn't it? Where there's competitors. So if a competitor is willing to bid more per customer and make a small loss or break even on that first order, you've got to compete with that, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the offer is kind of like what makes or break your like ads. Like, imagine if you're advertising, like if you want to give someone 50% off, or you advertise it as a buy one get one. Like if you test those, basically it's the same offer. It's kind of like you're getting one for free, you're getting like 50% off. But I would assure you that like whenever you test it, in 90% of the cases, buy one get one would win, just because like it's in consumer psychology. It's like, okay, I'm getting something for free. Like you can do buy two get one for free, but you do not advertise it that way. You can say get a free product, so like you will get more clicks because it's more inciting. Like there's so many things that you can kind of like manipulate your product and your pricing. Or also, like what works great is a free gift with the purchase. Instead of like during like Black Friday sales or something like that, instead of kind of like taking a percentage down from your website and offering a discount, which is hurting your margins, you offer a free gift with the purchase. So like people, okay, this is cool, I'm gonna get something for free, and then you make it like I don't know, you put what exact value is, so it looks as an interesting offer. What you can do is like also do a free ebook or something like that, which kind of like creates a value, but you're giving that for free. You don't have much cogs there. So basically, it's how you frame your product like to a specific customer and customer persona, because some people will care more about the discount, some people will care more about the quality, some people will care more about that added value with free PDF or ebook that you're giving to them.
Yeah, and what I love is you've just described marketing. And I often use the phrase that marketing's been lost from digital marketing. I'm sure you're the same as me, where sometimes we get so caught up in the numbers, like this advert versus this one. We don't actually look at, as you say, the offer. We don't look and go, okay, what is this company providing? Where is the value here? I saw an amazing bit of value ad recently where there was a company that was so expensive. There was a skincare brand, really expensive. And I was looking at this thing going, how on earth are they going to sell this on Google, Facebook, TikTok? Like, how are you going to get customers to engage with this? And I thought, I clicked on it on Google going, it can't cost, I think it was like £300 a month for a face skincare routine you do twice a day. And I thought, that is just too expensive. And anyway, about a week later, I saw an advert on Facebook, and the advert said, sign up on our website for a free consultation with a doctor. And the doctor, we call them dermatologists here.
Yeah.
Dermatologists, actually, you take pictures of your skin using the app, and the app has an outline, so you can take a picture sideways at the front, other side. You do that, and an actual doctor, a dermatologist, is actually going to look at your skin and then recommend, you need this routine with this stuff. We make it for you. Here's a subscription. It's £10 a day. So £5 in the morning, £5 in the evening, and we'll clear your skin in 3 months. And you were like, and I was kind of sitting there going like, right, there's real compelling offer here. And as you say, the ebooks are a really cheap solution. But if you were to employ a doctor or dermatologist to actually give medical advice, naturally now it's like, and then just click here and we'll send your first order out. It's like the same as going to the doctor, and then it's like, right, you need this medicine. Click here, or walk up to the shop in the hospital now and buy the products you need, and that's it. And I thought it was such a good value add actually.
Yeah, I mean, like when you provide the value, when you educate customers, like even though they're not, like some of them would not buy right away, but when they come to the point they will buy, they will think of you because you're the one that educate them. Yep. So you provided that free value, so you have authority in their mind. So you're the first one they will come when they decide to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go on to our next topic then, which is still relating to paid social, obviously. But we're starting to get into strategy now. What are some of the strategies people should consider in terms of whether it's like multi-touch point within social? You mentioned top of funnel. So to anyone who's not heard that, it's, as Marin said right at the start, that means that it's the first time they've seen something, or first or second time, so they've never heard of you. It's like, we exist, and that could be the ad. What are some of the strategies that work quite well on paid social then? Like, what should people be thinking about these touch points, and are people going to have to pay 10 times for someone to click on an ad before they purchase something?
Yeah, like, I mean, I would like initially say that like foundation for everything is like you said, is a proper marketing. So basically you need to understand what are the potential reason why someone would buy your product. It could be a price, it could be just because like the skincare product will help you, like you will get more confidence, or like you wouldn't have to use the makeup. So basically based on the customer reviews and the competitor reviews, you first want to find out what are the main drivers, what are the main angles why someone would buy your product. Then you start testing those angles. When you see that one of the angles is getting more traction, then you kind of align your text in your ad copy, in your images about that angle. You make a landing page about that angle. That's kind of like that marketing thing. When it comes to the technical stuff, Facebook recently launched, not recently, it's almost like a year ago, this campaign called Advantage Shopping Plus. It's similar to PMax on Google. So basically it relies more on AI, on the machine learning. How it works, it's kind of like a black box. We don't have an exact explanation how it works, but it does produce good results for majority of the clients of ours. So this is something that we are kind of like heavily using in our ad accounts. Once you get some like results with your testing, from your angle testing, from like using creative diversification. So you want to showcase an ad like from a founder style perspective. You want to showcase an ad that is a product demonstration. You want to showcase an unboxing review ad, restock ad. So basically you're hitting people with the different touch points, but every ad is talking about a different aspect. So one, like I'm showcasing you how my product works. Then the next, you will see a girl that applies that skincare product. Then the next, you will see another girl that is unboxing the product. Then you will see a fourth ad that is talking about how shipping is free. So basically we are overcoming all your potential objections with the different ads, and then like you just end up buying. It's like you're kind of like leading people from totally not aware about your product to become interested, to kind of like answering their objections, providing the social proof, and then actually get them to buy.
I love that, and I think the I don't know what you guys call it, but we sometimes call it like a war of attrition. And that means you're just kind of like, attrition meaning like you're just slowly kind of like breaking down all these barriers to a point where, as you say, someone's like, actually, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't buy this. I need to try it. You know, this is amazing. And I think one huge advantage you guys have got on well, I was going to call it Meta, I'm still going to call it Facebook, that you've got on Facebook that we don't have on Google so much is you can educate people so much more. Like with us, the main thing we use, you mentioned Performance Max. Performance Max is mostly Google Shopping. Let's face it, it doesn't work so well for lead gen. If you don't have a Google Shopping feed, it doesn't do much. But Google Shopping means you basically got the product, about 3 words in the title, maybe the reviews, the price, and who's selling it. That's it, and the image. There's nothing else. We can't do this big video about like how it all works and who's doing what. We have to rely on the landing page for that. but that relies on somebody actually clicking on it first. So I think there's a huge opportunity actually for both channels to work together, where you guys are doing the education piece, and then when someone's ready to buy, actually they do come onto Google, which is where we can get a 4 or 5 or 6 to 1 ROAS, where if you guys are doing 1.7 to 3, actually see how the whole marketing mix then starts to work. But yeah, I think the overcoming objection makes a lot of sense. And I guess a really big question to ask, and I asked my guest last week as well, who was from an e-commerce brand. How would you approach it with a client when a client says, okay, we've got $100,000 a month to spend on marketing on all our digital channels. How much do we put into every channel? How would you approach that kind of question?
That's kind of like a really tough without knowing like the back end of the business, how much like organic channel organic traffic are you getting, like are you working with some of the influencers that are actually generating the demand, I don't know, on Instagram, on YouTube, and then Google is there to capture that demand. Also, it depends whether the product that you're selling, there's a ongoing demand for it. Are people actively searching for that? Like you can see that in Google Trends. If there's no trend and people are not searching for the product, then you have to put more money into Facebook, just because you need to create that demand with your ads. So like if nobody knows what your product does and nobody is searching for it, like you cannot expect to spend so much on Google just because you're limited with the searches. So you have to put more on Facebook. I would say that like majority, like mostly split on our clients is somewhere between like 75% on Facebook and like 25 on Google, just because on Google you're limited. So Facebook needs to generate that demand and then Google captures that.
Nice. And we've got one client who do something similar to that. I think they're kind of 2/3 Facebook and or 1/3 on Google. But what we do is we spend as much as we can on Google, because we know we're getting the ROAS. As you say, it's bottom of funnel, they're searching for it. And then what we do is whatever we're spending on Google, we spend double, which is the other 2/3. We spend double that on Facebook. I mean, it's not, we don't do it ourselves, there's another agency doing it, but that tends to work really, really well. And actually with that brand, we experimented a little bit month by month, going, all right, let's put half on each. And we got a certain ROAS. Let's put more on Facebook, but keep Google the same. When we pulled it back, Google was then limited, and it was like, but we're making like 8-1 here on Google. We can't let it be limited. It's too profitable. So that's when Google kind of became a unlimited. But the more we put into Facebook, the more we could put into Google. And it was pretty much intrinsic. We even did like a 2-week push where Facebook, we doubled the budget for 2 weeks, and then we went back to half the budget for the next 2 weeks. And Google kind of, for the first week, it looked like Google was just going to keep going. Second week, plummeted. Because it wasn't doing that awareness anymore. And then when we put Facebook back up, it took another like 3-4 weeks before Google started to really lift again in ROAS. We're still spending the money, people were still clicking, but they hadn't seen an advert before. Now, what was really interesting...
Facebook is fueling the Google. That's kind of like how I would say it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, it's top of funnel versus bottom of funnel. So then now you have a marketing strategy that hits the whole funnel. The really interesting thing that we found, though, is anyone that landed from Facebook, we actually put a small tracking link on all the Facebook ads, and we captured them all in an audience on Google Analytics, and then we fed that audience into a Performance Max campaign. And then we ran another Performance Max campaign using what's called an experiment. So we told Google, show them both half and half. So we did an experiment where we had one Performance Max campaign that was just all purchasers and anyone searching for this stuff, target all of these guys. Second Performance Max campaign that was only targeting the audience that was generated by Facebook. And it was interesting, the Facebook audience, it spent less. We couldn't spend as much, but the ROAS was much higher. And the client was delighted, and that became an unlimited campaign. You know, keep that one running, because if we've seen them from Facebook and they've gone as far as clicking on an ad now and landing on the site, haven't purchased, well, Performance Max is now doing the retargeting part of that, which was absolutely amazing. And while we're talking about data then, let's talk about attribution. So what tools do you guys use to attribute sales? How do you know that, because if all that fluffy stuff's going on Facebook and people are seeing ads, watching ads, but not purchasing, the report's going to tell you it's made 0 revenue or very little revenue. How do you guys tackle attribution?
So if I have an answer to kind of like how to solve attribution, I would probably like be the richest guy.
It's a very tough
in the world. Yeah, but there are a couple of third-party software that we are using. Most of our clients are either on Norbeam or Triple Whale. Some of those are like using Cometly. But we actually find out about one software, not recently, but like for the past 6 months I'm using them, and they ensure that like all the sales that happened in Shopify, they're pushed back to Facebook. So actually then Facebook has more data, the event match score increases, and then you actually see more data in your Shopify. I would not say it bypasses the effect of iOS 14.5 update, but it certainly helps with having more sales visible in Facebook, because then if you have more sales, you can make better decisions. When you can make better decisions, you can scale the winners, cut the losers, and then you actually see effect on your Shopify. The tool is called converge.com.
Nice.
And like I started using them for our internal brands, then kind of like expanded to couple of clients, and like we are pretty satisfied with that. Still, there is always going to be overlap. Let's say Facebook says today we earn 20K, Google says that we earn 10K, but when we check in Shopify, there's 25K. So like 5K is missing. So obviously there's always going to be overlap. But if you stick to the one, let's say, one way of making decision, let's say last click, both on Facebook, both on Google, you're treating every platform the same. So it helps aligning your decision making. Obviously, you take it with a grain of salt, because okay, maybe Facebook is underreporting, but I know it's fueling Google, so I may be allowed to kind of like take it with a grain of salt and like maybe let it run, even though if it's not hitting my target. That's how we usually operate. Also, if you like run YouTube ads, like there's not much like instant purchases. Like YouTube is doing that education, so you cannot treat Google the same way you're treating YouTube, just because like the intent of a purchase is totally different. But then that YouTube or Facebook is actually getting you new visitors and new customers compared to bottom of the funnel. So like it's really a mix of the different data and mix of the different channels and how we know our funnel usually looks like.
Yeah. Well done. I mean, that's a really good explanation. I ask quite a lot of guests, and I myself sometimes say stuff, and then about an hour later I think like, do you know what, I wouldn't actually do that. Or it's very circumstantial to the brand as to how you attribute stuff. And I think some brands we talk to have said they just kind of money in, money out, and they tweak, like I say, they tweak budgets in the middle and see like how can they optimize this whole process. Other brands, which tend to be the younger brands, the ones that are more in their infancy, that are still testing stuff out, they're the ones that tend to just go, Facebook's not working, turn it off. Or they go, Google's not working, turn it off. And what I've written down actually, which I think is the most misunderstood channel, and because we don't have any data, is direct. Direct is the most frustrating thing in my entire life. I'm exaggerating. There's probably more frustrating things out there. But the thing with direct is, if anyone's looked at direct before and you don't know what it is, that's where someone has literally just gone like mytshirtshop.com, go, and landed straight on your site, hence the word direct. They haven't come through Facebook, Google, email, anything else, or analytics just doesn't know. And the reason that's so frustrating is because someone somewhere has generated all that traffic and all of those sales. Somebody's run an advert, someone's done a press release, somebody's mentioned you to a friend, whatever, and you can't attribute it, which is so frustrating. So what we tend to do, and we've actually done this on a Looker Studio report, although like Meta and Facebook, we're always going to call Looker Studio Data Studio, because that's what it is, in my view. But Google Data Studio, we've actually created a report where we've put a small script in now where you can flick a switch at the top of the report and it actually reattributes direct by whatever our conversion rates are. So if 40% of your sales come from Google Ads, then 40% of direct gets put into Google Ads. And email as well, we've actually managed to split email for a couple of clients in tracking now. So is this an existing customer or a new customer? Because the other thing was, again, where attribution, like you were saying, is such a rabbit hole and it goes on for miles, is on email. If you have a welcome offer that says join our newsletter and we'll give you 10% off, now in your reports you are running the risk where GA4 or Triple Well should be able to work out, okay, they clicked on a Facebook ad, then they signed up to email, then they purchased. So actually email shouldn't get any credit here at all. Email was just the mechanism at the end, but it was Facebook that drove them in. But there is that challenge of these platforms will sometimes then go, okay, you've signed up to email, you've received the email, and you don't click on it for a while. you leave it for like 2 weeks, then you come back and use your welcome offer on email. The problem with that is the cookies are all going to finish, and I mean, cookies are dying in a year and a half anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, the problem is it then can't attribute it. So you're looking at your data going, well, email's amazing, it must be repeat customers. It's actually not, it's your welcome series. So we've actually put like referral exclusions in for when the campaign name equals something into GA4 now, to say, actually, if it is a welcome series, we want to exclude it, use the previous source if you can find it. Problem being is if it can't find it, it puts it in direct. So we could have this amazing user journey that's going like Google or Facebook straight into site through email purchase, but the purchase is coming through as direct. So we've got this amazing user journey. It's just the tracking that's wrong. So you start lowering budgets, and then everything starts lowering, and before you know it, you're not spending any money anymore at all, and your whole business is falling apart. Which is why I think, like you were saying, taking it with a grain of salt, I think is a really important element.
Yeah, that's actually pretty smart what you guys did with the direct. But like, yeah, I mean, the other day we had one influencer post. Like, I did know he posted, like, it was pretty big influencer on YouTube, and I saw like influx on orders on our Shopify. I went to Google Analytics, what's happening here, and then like I saw, okay, it's direct. So then day later I found out that like that was an influencer. So like, okay, it kind of like makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, I find as well, if someone's got a really short website URL, if you literally just had like shoes.com, and obviously you sell shoes, then people remember that and they go, right, let's just go to shoes.com, and your direct traffic's going to be massive, which is and I think this is where we've got to be really careful as marketing people, is like, you've got a tracking problem, but actually owning shoes.com, or like one of our old sponsors, Retention, they have retention.com, which there was a whole episode we did with them. In fact, I think we did 2 or 3 in the end. But they were saying like how much money it cost them, but how amazing it's been since. They get so much direct traffic, because it's like, we are Retention, and what we do is we help you retain your customers. And when we talk about marketing, it's just so simple. So if you have a similar thing, like if you could get shoes.com or something similar, it was just like abcshoes.com. People remember the ABC, and actually your Facebook ads, your Google ads can say official ABC shoes website and things like that. So your direct traffic is going to go up. But I think we need to be careful as marketeers to go, that's a better bit of marketing, and it's a better user journey for the customer. So we'll go down that route and just accept we're going to have some gaps in our tracking, because we're confident we're going to make more money through the marketing that we're doing. But as we say, attribution is the biggest question mark, I think, in the industry. And the problem is, I think even if you could see every single user journey, or say that the Google Analytics multi-channel report or the Triple Whale one, say they were completely accurate, I also question my team sometimes saying, so what? What do we know now? We just need to be on lots of channels all the time, which I think, like you were saying, is why it might not just be the kind of Meta universe and the Google universe. You might want to look at Pinterest and go, actually, we do homeware or something. Pinterest is important to us as well. How much do you work with clients then to kind of branch out into smaller channels and have a bit of a like always on presence across all of them, or do you find actually just Google and Facebook are the only two you need, and they drive things?
So I think that like initially Google, Facebook, and proper email flows and email campaigns is like the foundation. You need that. You definitely need that. You can experiment with like Pinterest, TikTok, but with very low budget, and only if you see attraction, it kind of like makes sense. But like below certain like threshold, I don't think you need to worry about those channels, like, because they are shiny objects. And I think that like focusing on Facebook and Google and proper email is definitely like 95% of the stuff that you need.
Nice. And last question then, talking about shiny objects. Meta have been busy, haven't they? And they've launched Meta Twitter, which is called Threads, in my opinion. Have you guys... I put my first post up yesterday and just said, this is my first post. I have 0 followers. What are your thoughts on Threads? Is it a copy of Instagram? Is it too much like Twitter?
I think they're kind of like trying to be something like Twitter. To be honest, I did not use it because due to the European Union, like it's not allowed for us here in Croatia and in any country in Europe. There are still no ads there, but I expect that would change very soon, because that's just an additional space for advertising. We know how it started, like with Instagram stories, with Instagram reels, with now like I expect the ads to be available on Threads. They are not at the moment, but due to the fact that I did not actually use the app, I cannot share my experience, unfortunately.
No, it's absolutely fine. And I mean, anyone who's listening and hasn't heard, we've left the EU, which has been very controversial, and has been quite a crazy exercise. But yeah, I didn't realise the EU hadn't allowed Threads at all. Like that's crazy. Like it's really kicking off in America. It's I think I was reading the other day. It's the fastest growing social media platform in the world. In history.
Yeah, saw that as well. And like I also noticed, like whoever promoted their Thread profile on Twitter got kind of like a shadow ban. So like Twitter is kind of like punishing those people. But yeah, like due to the privacy issue, it's currently not allowed in Europe.
Wow. Well, there you go. I learned a lot on our podcast, and that's something I've learned. So, well, look, Marin, we're at time. Thank you so much for your time. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show. If people want to get in touch with you, what is the best way to reach out?
So probably reach me out on Twitter, like on a daily basis. I'm sharing I'm sharing like tips and tricks about Facebook ads, about e-com. So probably like my DMs are open. So if you're interested, you can send me a message there, and I will definitely reply.
Nice. And what is your Twitter handle?
I don't know how to kind of like spell it, but it's just my name, Marin Istvanic. You will probably find me very easy.
Cool. Lovely stuff. And what we'll do is we'll put a link to the Inspire website as well on the description of this. So if anyone wants to reach out, please do that. Marin, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It was really a pleasure. We kind of like touch base on the like general stuff, some overview. We touch base on some exact strategies. So I think there will be a lot of things for guys to implement in their stores.
Lovely stuff. I hope so. And if anyone's got any questions for Marin, obviously reach out, have a chat with him. If you've got any questions for us, go on our website, winningwithshopify.com, and feel free to fill out any of the forms and get in touch. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please hit the subscribe button, leave us a review, and make sure you check out next week's episode, which we post every single Friday. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in, and have a lovely weekend.